Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent. So there's gonna be a Midwinter update coming in the middle of December, just before people are really looking for an excuse to throw money at anything, and it's gonna include more than 100 whooping cards. Yep, exactly the update we need in Gwent. And if you left Gwent for some reason, this is the time to get back, because finally we're gonna get a lot of cards. Don't get me wrong, getting some adventures here and there, and getting 20 cards here and there is very thoughtful gesture. I love it, but this is the big exciting patch we're waiting for. And I'm just gonna go over the cards. Wyvern Scale Shield, special item. Of course, I should say first that this is gonna be a bit of an incomplete picture, because we just don't see the rest of the cards. It's gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna be like 110 cards, and we only see 20 of them, so of course we won't see all the synergies, but it's gonna be a bit of a taste of what is to come. Anyway, Wyvern, Scale Shield, special item, boost a unit by the initial power of a unit in your hand. Of course works really well with high power units that you're running, so Manticore would be a good example. That would make this bronze card a 13, so that's fine. You can just buff something on the board. Of course, boosting, actually that's boost something on the board. How I say it does matter quite a bit. Boosting is something that can be reset, so it's not perfect, but it's still okay. And if you're just running really strong units, for example the spies are a good example as well, then you can just use this to boost by 12. And it's not as conditional, but it kind of depends on the decks, I suppose. If you can get some extra value out of boosting a specific unit, then that could be really nice as well. So yeah, it looks like an okay item, but again, incomplete picture at this point, so we just gotta see. Peasant Militia, special tactic card, fill a row with peasants, so that means that there's gonna be a row limit. What limit that will be, we don't know, but assuming, well, I can just speculate, assuming that it's not gonna be too crazy. I would assume, like, and this is gonna be a synergetic card, I'm guessing like at least 7 up to like 10ish at most. It kind of depends. Kind of depends how many synergetic cards they wanna release. Because if we are talking about Cavalry Siege support plus peasants, that's a good combo, right? Or Yennefer the Conjurer, like, yeah, that's a, or just the regular Yennefer. Just the regular one that boosts a bunch of units. So that's obviously a good combo. So I would say at least 7, but we shall see. So who knows? Academy Siege Sergeants, who lead the peasants. Looks good. Anyway, Lesser Demons Unit Relict. Move a unit from your deck to your hand, then discard a random card. Oh boy. So this is basically a better Swareg that discards randomly. Holy crap. So this is a... But the thing is with this card, you can move a unit from your deck to your hand. Also the wording, I think, needs to be improved a little bit. Because it's not always clear what a card does and how it works. But I think it's pretty obvious in this case. You just pick a card from your deck, then you discard a random card, and that card can be the one you chose. Because, for example, if you have no cards left, then you play this unit, you pick a card from your deck. Let's just say, like, best case scenario, you pick like a Clan and Crate Raider, and you discard it and just like get extra power. But even that wouldn't be worth it. But that would be like a positive use of it. But like, just playing this unit with like free cards and like discarding like key cards randomly. I actually like CDPR putting in some random cards. I like it. And I do see a bit of a push toward randomness, or at least controlled randomness in this patch. But we shall see when the complete picture becomes more obvious. So Lesser Demons, definitely a cool card, but I don't expect to see much of a play, because you don't really wanna put in consistency along with inconsistency. What if you just draw a card? Like, you just pick out your win condition, your key card, then you discard it? That's no good. That's not what I want to do. But it's a very interesting card, and I suppose we're gonna see it in some highlights. Gerald Jordan, Unit Witcher, reset all units and remove their tokens. Okay, so this is really good in decks that do not boost. Or, yeah, and against metas that boost or just deal you damage. So it's definitely a situational card, and I really can't say too much about it. The power level is pretty low. So who knows? Maybe we can have like units that deal damage to themselves and damage an enemy based on that. So like a 9 strength unit that damages for 6 and hits something for 6, but he also hits himself. So some dumb thing like that. And then you can reset it, something like that. Who knows? But with that, it would be like the perfect one to run. Anyway, it's definitely a situational card, and I'm not sure if it would fit into anything. Like, the Skellige would be the faction that it would be most likely to fit into, but not so much. Not in the current decks. Saskia Dragonfire, unit Draconid, Addern. Banish your hand and draw that many cards. Wow. So obviously this dragon is below the power level as well, and usually you want to be you kind of want to go through your deck a little bit, but not. You definitely don't want to just like dump your whole hand. So with this card you can run more situational cards, I suppose, but the biggest use of her is with cards that benefit from drawing other cards. So maybe just discarding. I know it's actually banished, so it just draws. So maybe Nilfgaard. It's a very unique card, and this is definitely not a trick you can pull off twice. So I would like to see a deck like this. Please players, don't make me hate this deck. But yeah, like this seems like a trick you can pull off once, because like discarding your hand twice with the renew, I don't know. Actually, yeah, I mean, maybe if your opponent gives you like crap cards, like that could be it. Like, imagine like you get like a rotten ale or foul ale and you like banish it and you just get a proper card instead of it. But of course that's a very niche situation, but that's really not gonna happen a lot. But it's a very interesting option, and I do like it for that. So these are very interesting options, and yeah, it's all very interesting. The first 5 cards already very interesting. Also, of course, we see new tags as well. Like we see here item. Well, tactic is already a thing, so there's nothing. And I mostly wanted to bring this up because of the Werewolf, which is a 7 base immune, strengthened by 7 on contact with Moonlight. So what's going on with the Moonlight? Not sure yet. We just gotta see the other pieces of the puzzle at this point. But the point is, what is just really important is that this unit is immune. And I rather would not call anything early, but it's a very important keyword. It's a very impactful keyword to consider adding to the game, because that means this unit cannot be interacted with. You just play this on the board, and any kind of removal based strategy will not be able to touch it. Like any kind of direct removal won't be able to touch it. The power level is also respectable, 14, considering how, depending on how hard it will be to trigger this unit. And I can say it already, like that the power level right now, the base power you expect from units is like 11 for bronze, 14 for silver, and 17 for gold. And this is clearly okay, good, but question is how situational it is. And if this is pretty reliable and immune, it could be a problem. This is definitely not a keyword I would like to see on many units. Maybe some units. Like, if anything, I would like this unit to pay heavily for this. Maybe just some stats. Like, this Moonlight shouldn't be easy to get. Like, immune is not a keyword that should be added lightly to any card. I think it should be part of the game. I think it's acceptable to be part of the game. I do like the back and forth. And immune, it kind of limits that, but I think it's fine to be part of the game. Like, immune is okay if done right. This unit is obviously really strong. Like, it doesn't generate you value. It could even act like as a finisher. Again, we gotta see how Moonlight works. But this shouldn't be easy to. And immune is not something you should have for free. That is all. Striga! Unit Relic Cursed. Deal 8 damage to a non-monster unit. Obviously this is slightly below the power level, but the whole point of this unit is to deny something, deny that specific target you hit for 8 damage, or perhaps less, additional value. So if you just take out Imperial Brigade that has 8 power, and you deny, I don't know, like 3-4 emissary worth of value you would have got on top of that, then Striga is fine. Not particularly exciting card, but hey, it's fine. It's kind of silly that Striga is a 13 while the Wild Hunt one, I don't know, the name doesn't come to mind. The 5/7. I guess that's still fine-ish. Nah, not really great. Well, we shall see. Maybe the cards will be changed as well. I do expect some balance changes. Viva's Incantation. Unique Relic Mage. Choose one. Strengthen all allied relics by 2. Or play a bronze or silver relic from your deck and strengthen it by 2. So, strengthen all allied relics by 2. That's only really worth it if you're hitting... If you're like hitting a lot of them and playing a lot of them. So assuming you want at least 17 power out of this, then we're kind of talking about at least 7 units getting hit by Viva's Incantation. Maybe less so if you're just like ending the round with the Viva's Incantation. You're just opponent like passed and you just play this Viva's Incantation. Then it's like okay because you're just having some carryover, and it doesn't have to be all relics. For example, if you're just playing fiends and the fiends get eaten, so you're also consuming that power that they get, that's strengthen. Because it's strengthened, it doesn't. The units don't lose it when they go to the graveyard. It's okay, but even the second option of this card is pretty exciting. And I suppose I should talk a little bit about the choose one part as well. But first of all, we should just consider it like 6 power, 4 plus 2, and you just play any bronze or silver relic from your deck, and you actually just strengthen it. So it can be consumed for, again, extra value. So even for that, it's totally fine. I guess CDPR is really pushing the Relict archetype. And this looks like an auto include in that one. Let's see Nilfgaard. Viper's Cool Witcher. Unit Witcher. Deal 3 damage. Increase the damage dealt by 1 for each Alchemy card in your initial deck. And yeah, Nilfgaard is a little bit better with Alchemy. However, we don't really see it right now. players try to make Crow's Eye work, but because everything is agile now, it's really not working so well. And Nilfgaard doesn't really have ways to really force away the rows. Like, even if you're just threatening them with a lacerate, your opponent is gonna at most play on 2 rows. And that doesn't really make Crow's Eye that amazing. It kind of depends on how good the Alchemy cards will be, but by the base power of this guy is 10. And you don't need to add a lot of Alchemy cards to make him pretty damn good. And another important point here is that it says initial deck. So that is extremely important here. That just adds to the consistency a lot. Instead of just like drawing into all your Alchemy cards and just using them, and using these guys later for a 10s, all the cards that you start with. That makes it a lot more consistent. And I'm really glad that they considered this way of doing things as well. Like, I rarely see, or do I even see this in any other card games? I don't really recall, but it's cool. Like, I think it's good to have the risk if it wasn't just your initial deck. I'm like, some cards are fine with that, but of course if you took that risk, then this card should be stronger. But this card is not about the gamble. It's about it's about having a consistent card. For example, if you just put in like three guys, then you can just kill all the Imperial Enforcers on the board with a 7+6, and that's extremely strong. So that could be a pretty good counter to Spy Nilfgaard. Who knows? It kind of depends. If you're just looking to counter specific options in the meta, like for example, like 7-strength guys are like really getting out of control, you just put in 5 Alchemy cards. Or actually, 4 of them. Yeah. Or like 8-strength guys, then you put in 5. Of course, kind of depends on how much you can get away with. So, but these units can be extremely strong, for sure. And I kind of wanted to go back to the choose one, because this is a very important keyword to put in the game again. And I saw these keywords in Hearthstone first, but it's definitely a fun one, and makes these cards, or makes the situational cards, a lot more usable and a lot more flexible. Of course, we already had it. We already had like the choose one, but like seeing these choose one between fewer options. Like, yeah, Clear Sky already did this. Like, you either Clear Sky or Rallied. What I'm saying is that I'm happy to see more choose one cards, okay? That is all. So. And Cadaverine Venom. Deal 2 damage to an enemy and all units that share its categories. To me, it seems like they are fishing a little bit here. It could be a very niche counter. But they're just like throwing this out there, you know, maybe the players will find use for it. It doesn't seem like a strong effect. Or destroy a bronze or silver neutral unit. Yeah, I don't even know what kind of neutral units we're gonna see. Bronze neutral unit. But I guess we'll see. It seems like a bad card to me, but because of the choose one effect, it could be a more okay card. I would like to see more like as or destroy a bronze or silver unit, not only neutral. I don't really see the need for the neutral tag included there. It seems like deal 2 damage to an enemy and all units that share its categories. But you would need to hit like 7 units to make it worth it, and they need to be on the board. But that's a lot. So I don't really see too much in that. But yeah, like you can just use it as a... Maybe it would be too strong because it would be like a directed Scorch. But I suppose that Scorch has the effect of maybe burning down 2 guys at the same time. That's kind of the upside of that. And we already have Manticore Venom that does 12 and doesn't have a choose effect. So I don't know. We shall see. It's a Nilfgaard specific card, so faction card. In this form, I just don't see it really providing a lot. Unless spammy archetypes or just very strong neutral bronze or silvers become part of the game. But it's a cool card nonetheless. And I do like CDPR experimenting with this. Deal 2 damage to all units that share its categories. So we shall see. Letho the Kingslayer, unit of Witcher, and choose 1, destroy an enemy leader on the board and set self to 11. So even if you kill a weakling, that's... Well, it's not great, but like it's okay. It's not something you would put in it for. Or play a bronze or silver tactic from your deck. Okay, so you can... It's kind of like a Natalis in a way. The plan B is like him being a Natalis with 2 less strength. So I don't think that needs to be really discussed, but that's a pretty strong plan B. If that's a plan B at all. And the plan A... plan B can be... Plan B is a big one. The problem here is that it can also design... it can also limit design space. Because any kind of leader... I just bring up Unseen Elder. Any kind of leader that doesn't rely on strong abilities to do their thing gets pretty punished by Letho the Kingslayer. Let's just say like Emir. You know, you just play Emir for 7, you kill Letho, you kill Emir with Letho, you get 11 strength on the board, and they lose a 7, so you get 18 points, and that's pretty okay. That's pretty damn okay. The plan B is playing a silver tactics with a 4 strength gold. That's pretty okay as well. So, but it kind of depends. Like if you're just hitting a King Brand that has 2 power, that kind of sucks. So it's not great. But if you're hitting a 30 strength Unseen Elder, then yeah, that could be a problem. So yeah, just okay. So it's kind of limit. I like it as like a situational counter in a way, but I feel like it could also limit the design space that any kind of leader that relies too much on making himself great instead of just doing some kind of dumbass ability like Foltest. Like that would be the classic, him killing Foltest. And that wouldn't be exciting. That wouldn't be an exciting option actually for Letho the Kingslayer. It would be okay because you take out like a 5, you become an 11, you take out the crewman. So that would be like okay. Like that's just an okay option. But if you just take out the Unseen Elder, that's awesome. So yeah, but and any kind of leader that is not ability based. Like actually just Unseen Elder is the only one that gets really punished. Or any kind of leader that has a like a weakish ability, and to make up for it, they have a bigger body. Like Francesca. Like Francesca has like a 10 string body, and even with that, Letho would be pretty damn strong. So, and even it's not that situational anyway. So who knows? It definitely is gonna limit the design space of making the leaders fat. So who knows? Letho is definitely an okay card overall, but pretty punishing against fat leaders. Anyway, Winch, special tactics card, span a bronze, no realms, machine, and boosted by 2. So, that actually, spawn is actually this cover from Hearthstone. So, yeah, that's that. All the machines in no realm out of all the machines in our realm, you are given choice out of 3. And out of those 3, you can select whichever you want, and it gets boosted by 2. And that's a controlled randomness effect. I personally like the discover effect. I do like the choose effects as well. And I suspect it's gonna lose and win games. But overall, this is a pretty strong bronze card. And it's a flexible one as well. So you're not gonna be that unhappy anyway. Because even if you get like a slightly underpowered machine, it still has like a +2 on it. But if you get a top tier machine, that has a +2 on it as well. So Winch looks like an okay card. Of course, it kind of depends on how many machines are we talking about. Because if you're talking about like a lot of machines and getting, it kind of depends on the balance, right? Because in Hearthstone, I'm gonna bring up Hearthstone because it's the it's the only example I can bring up with this cover, I believe. Or at least I know of. In Hearthstone, they don't care about care balancing at all. They're like OP cards and they're like complete trash cards. And that's not the case in Gwent. In Gwent, the cards tend to be... I wouldn't say they are that balanced, but like they're pretty close. They're pretty close. They're definitely closer than in Hearthstone. So it's not between complete garbage and godlike. So I think this could be a really strong card. And I'm kind of excited to see it in action. So definitely see more randomness. But we see this silly randomness with the doggy. And well, it's a weird card because it's also a consistent card, but also like discard a random card. Are you kidding me? Anyway, Vincent, unit curse beast, destroy the armor of all units, then boost self by half the value, destroyed. I don't personally like the whole turning your defense into offense thing, and this Vincent could be the guy, like, he could completely replace the guys that just, like, gets rid of your armor, the heavy cavalries, and use him as your finisher in the round. So, when you're just done spamming guys with, like, a bunch of armor on them, you just play Vincent and, hey, watch up! And you just remove all the armor, get strong. And win all the ladies, I suppose. But yeah, that is about all. And you can just resurrect him. I suppose that works pretty well. Whether that archetype will be good, or do you really want to spam a bunch of armor dudes? We just have to see. But yeah, it can be used in that way. Okay, let's see. Southkirk, unit, officer cursed, add-on, duel an enemy. Yeah, and he has free armor. So duel it works in a way that you hit the enemy first for your power, then the enemy hits you back, then if the enemy is if you hit the enemy and if the enemy is still alive, it hits you back, then it keeps on going till one of the unit dies. Of course, armor blocks this damage. So Southkirk is 17 against 10 to 12 strength units or power level units, and it's less ideal against units that have less power or more. Because if you just hit something ridiculously strong with Southkirk, you do 7 damage, then you got hit back and you die. So that's obviously not perfect. So it's a usable card, most definitely. I think it's a bit overrated because it's not that situational, and he can take out cards that can get extra power. But he's like okay, he's just okay. And he's not really an archetype defining card. He's just like a okay card if you just looking to counter, just like take out some value generating cards in the, I don't know, 6 to 7 range, or just, I don't know, just take out some beefy cards in the 10 to 12 range, something like that. Or like you can take out the bigger value generating cards as well. I suppose it's Selkirk. I guess that makes him like the best Like, yeah, you don't really get like 10 to 12 removal usually, and that's cool. Scoia'tael, half-elf hunter, spawn a base copy of itself. Oh boy. So I was saying for some time that I do consider the base value of the bronzes to be 11. So you want to include a bronze once you like, that's the least amount you expect from a bronze. But this bronze gets you 12 without any setup whatsoever. So in the next patch, I would just have to simply say, simply because of this card, without a doubt, that the base value of the bronzes is 12. And that is not really far from the truth, because even these days, like, many of the top bronzes were hitting for 14. They were somewhat situational, but not that much. And I guess I just have to accept that the bronzes are 12 now. Actually, at that point, at one point in the future, like, we had a fiend that you can just drop down for 8. And now we got units that you can, or poor flanking infantry that you can drop down for 9. Now you can have 2 6s. Well, I don't know. Okay, bronzes are 12s now. So, what about the silvers? I don't know. If bronzes are 12 now, at least. So this is the bottom line of maybe gets into your deck, but maybe it won't be enough. Even this won't be enough. Who knows? The problem with releasing not really cards like this, but like general power level, is that it makes the balancing really iffy. So you may have like a bunch of cards balanced, but then you release like 50 cards that are a little bit over the power level, and suddenly the balance is like way out. Like, some cards are like a lot weaker than before. And of course, the next expansion is gonna be like on the power level or even above the power level. Like, it'll be below the power level, but like, technically, like, people just wanna care about the cards, right? Can't be just all crap. So I didn't see an expansion where everything was below the power level. I usually see it on the power level or above. And this puts the bronzes to 12. I'm not saying this unit is really awesome by any means, because even right now you can easily get very strong cards. Like I wouldn't really bring up these as an example, but yeah, we do see situational 12s right now, and we can have like Drowner that's like an 11 that moves. Like, no, Drowner is like a 7 plus moves into a Vetter, like whatever. Like that's like at least like 12. Can be easily considered 12. So who knows? But this is a unit that you just drop down for 12 and you don't need to have a damn thing. So I don't know. Anyway, Milan unit elf, deal 4 damage to the units at the end of the row. So it's a 13 that hits. Your opponent has to have 2 units, ideally that have at least 4 strength, 4 points, 4 power, on a specific row, and you hit them, and you do 13. This is clearly not good, and unless you're shutting down some really impactful 4 strength dudes, I'm not really seeing what that would get extra value later. A lot of extra value. At least +2. At best, it's a very situational card. Anyway, is a Grim Outlaw, Unit Elf Officer, choose one, spawn a silver special card. Holy crap. this is the, hey, I'm feeling lucky now. Or spawn a silver scoia'tael unit. Holy crap. This is the, I'm feeling lucky, son, card. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this card. Like, he would be an okay, like he would be a great card in a draft format. But will we see him in an actual competitive meta? Is he consistent enough? Is his power level good enough? Because he's a 3 plus a silver, which is just okay. So his power has to come from his options, his versatility. But the card pool is gonna be big enough, so he's not gonna be consistent, and you're just gonna get crap options like Milan or just some real crap. If you get some silver vetter, that could be terrible. Or I don't know, you can have some really bad cards, like you get D-bomb and this is good for nothing. It's interesting. He is like the I'm feeling lucky now. He's amazing in an arena format, draft format, but I'm not sure we're gonna see him in rank. He's flexible, but he's also random. It's again controlled randomness, but you do see a lot of there are a lot of silver scoia'tael units and silver special cards as well. So who knows? Maybe we're gonna see him. I would like to see him. I think it's fun, but I'm not sure if he's good enough. Anyway, Skellige, bronze special item. Choose one, resurrect the bronze beast. Sure. Or heal an ally and strengthen it by 3. Okay. So this is just straight up worse than a Freya. If you just want to resurrect something, even if it's a beast. And healing an ally and strengthening by 3. That ally would need to be pretty damn wounded. And strengthening by 3, of course, something that can be carried over. And of course it's a beast, like, but again. So it's basically a Mardrum and a Resurrect in one. It's like, no, it's half a Mardrum. And that can only heal yourself. And Resurrect. It's basically half a Mardrum and half a Resurrect. As well, assuming you actually care about beasts. But because you're giving up 1 point, and you can only resurrect beasts. And you can't use your Mardrum on enemies. So it's a weird one for sure. Like right now, it doesn't seem like an amazing one. Who knows? It could be really good if your strategy is all about just screwing around with beasts. Because you can, with this, you can actually resurrect beasts with the bronzes 6 times. 3 times with the Freyas, 3 times with the Bone Talisman. That's probably an overkill though. So, hard to say. But it's an interesting option for sure. We would have to see if it's really worth it. Again, like, would you really run this over the Freya just for the heal ally, strengthen it by 3 option? Like, I don't seem that great. Also, the whole strengthen thing only really makes sense. Like, would you really get wounded in the first 2 rounds of the game to really justify using this part of it? Or like resurrecting the beast? Why not just run a Freya? We'll see. Interesting card for sure. Well, we just have to see the rest of them. Darren, unit Timun Cursed. Whenever an enemy is damaged, boost this unit by 1. So, a Silver Axeman with 5 power. So, if your opponent has any kind of removal, or for this unit, like, forget about anything before. For this unit, you gotta feel lucky. You place it on the board and just like, hey, what's up? You don't have removal, right? You're dead wrong, because you just lose Darren, and you don't do a damn thing. It could be okay if you already have a bunch of, I just say you have a Scattering Storm established and a bunch of, like, you do damage that... you will need to do a lot of damage when he hits the board. Like, I just say you have a Scattering Storm on the board, hitting 3 units, and you place Terran, and that makes him go to 8. Like, that would be at least something to make him dodge an Altar, at least in its current form. But... yeah, I don't know. The X-Men also go from 5 to 7 and have some armor. And it's pretty damn awkward that they are locked to 1 row in this everything is agile meta for sure. But you don't really want to lose the silvers. I don't know. You can definitely get away with it if the opponents are more passive. So it's a situational card for sure. But the meta can easily turn against you, because it's an easy card to counter. Anyway, Brockvar Cursed. Choose one, play a cursed unit from your deck. That's okay. Not really amazing, because even if you play a silver cursed unit, you're only getting 2 on top of that, which is slightly below average. Or spawn a silver unit from your opponent's deck. Okay, that is pretty damn weird. But that has to be. I don't know how would that be okay? Maybe if you just play their spy, you can just like spawn an extra spy. But it also says your opponent's deck. That's why I need to like bring up wording. Like, what if your opponent doesn't have any silvers left? What if your opponent has like 1 silver left? But if your opponent doesn't have any silver left, then you just play this for 2? You don't know. Like, it doesn't say your opponent's initial deck, because that would be like, okay, fine. At least I know what I'm dealing with here. But just because it says your opponent's deck, so if your opponent has no silvers left, you play a 2, and that's like you lose the game. But if only the remainings are valid, you just don't know, because your opponent has like 7 cards in hand. Like, does he have all the silvers? Like, you're probably not gonna know. And playing a cursed unit from the deck is like okay, but ideally you need to play a cursed silver to really make it worth it. Because if you're just playing a 2 plus a bronze, that's not amazing for a gold. And that is it for now. Interesting options for sure. The more important than the whole point value, like, oh, this is gonna be like 1 stronger, is it gonna be like, I don't know, like 4 or whatnot, it doesn't really matter at this point. What really matters is making interesting cards, and they definitely nailed that. And I suspect we're gonna see even more interesting cards getting revealed. And I'm glad to see like a variety of cards. They're not just like, hey, they're just one thing. Like, we see these fun cards like Lesser Demons. We also see these like huge, impactful cards like Saskia Dragonfire. But we also see the archetype card that we love, like consistent cards, very niche cards, like not really niche, but Letho, Kingslayer. It could really work out. Anyway, this is going on for too long anyway. So thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time.